The St. Louis Cardinals dropped 2 of 3 to the Pirates, and as bad as that sounds, there was still some good things to take away from the weekend. I'll break it all down for you today on Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at JD Sports Radio, and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You know where we're at. Also on YouTube. Maybe you didn't know we were on YouTube. We are there. Like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us. Hit the notification button so you won't know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. First and foremost, I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday this weekend. A busy weekend for a lot of people. You ever notice that? It's a holiday weekend, but yet you're always running around doing stuff. Like, aren't we supposed to like take a chill and just kind of relax? But we don't do that. We get busy doing other things. So end of summer, sort of still going on. Baseball season still got a month left. 25 games left for the Cardinals, I believe. And if you didn't catch our last episode where we discussed the elite starting pitchers who will likely be available this offseason and how the Cardinals might approach those particular players, make sure you do that. One of the pitchers who we talked about in that episode just got arrested on Sunday. So we'll get into that at the end of this show. But let's go back to the weekend and talk about those darn Pirates, man. What a tough team they have been for the Cardinals this year. Most teams have been tough for the Cardinals, but the Pirates have been a real thorn in their side all year. Took 2 of 3 from the Redbirds this weekend at Busch Stadium, but, wins and losses, not exactly what we're paying attention to anymore. That's not really the big story. It's there's other things that we're paying attention to, although you want to see them win, right? Like, we like to win ball games. That's not a problem. But the real story for this final month of the season is the play of the young guys, how they're going to progress moving forward, see what they're going to offer when 2024 comes around. So you want to see improvements out of guys like Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. And of course, the pitchers, Dakota Hudson, Drew Rom, Zack Thompson, Matthew Liberatore. All of these guys are putting their best foot forward so that they see as much playing time as possible for next year. So that's what the rest of the season is about. It's not about wins and losses at this point anymore. Besides, if they keep losing, better draft pick. Think about it. I mean, when was the last time the Cardinals had like a top 5 draft pick? Been forever, right? Remember, it was like Paul Coleman back in the day was one of those guys. Braden Looper, I believe, was one of them. I don't know, just off the top of my head, those are the ones that I think of. But anyway, Friday night, let's talk about the guys we got right now. Friday night, we had Dakota Hudson back on the mound. Sinker ball working really, really well. You know what else was working pretty well? That mustache. If you're watching YouTube right now, you can see a picture of what Dakota Hudson looks like right now. Shaved off all the facial hair except for the lip sweater that's just kind of resting there on top of the upper lip there. And I'm not a big mustache guy. Normally, I find them to look weird. Like, I think it's just odd. But the power of the new mustache, it really worked out for him on Friday. I'm just not someone who enjoys having a lot of hair on my upper lip. It's not something I'm into, but some guys can pull them off. And although Hudson's got a strong, thick stash going right now, I'm not going to say I love it yet. It's new, and maybe I just need to get used to it. But, we've had some pretty good ones over the years with the Cardinals. They pulled it off back in the day. Todd Worrell, Al Raboski, obviously, Tom Brudansky, Ken Oberkfell, Keith Hernandez, Dennis Eckersley. You got Miles Michaelis, who's got one now. I'll always remember this guy, Mike Ramsey. Do you guys remember Mike Ramsey? Played on the Cardinals in the 80s, utility infielder, and super skinny. Doesn't look like he's got a muscle on his body. He's just bones. curly, poofy hair, and then, of course, the great mustache. I'm going to show you a picture of him on YouTube right there. There's his card. I believe that's a 1984 Topps card right there. Look at that guy. Does he not just scream ball player? Can you imagine if somebody looked like this right now playing ball in 2023? No way, right? No way. All right, let's get back to Hudson. No more mustache talk. Back to Hudson. I don't know. Keep the stash though. If he keeps throwing the way he did on Friday, you can do whatever you want with your facial hair, because Dak had 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 walks, no Ks. But man, the Pirates were hammering that ball into the ground, weren't they? He retired 14 batters on the ground. Got 16 of the last 17 hitters that he faced. The no strikeouts thing, a little bit odd not to have even one, but kind of significant. Rob Raines at STLSportspage.com said the only other time in the last 10 years that a Cardinal starter worked at least 7 innings and did not have a strikeout was Adam Wainwright last year against the Cubs. It just doesn't happen very often. But, you know, Hudson had a rough outing against Philly his last time out on the mound. And, I mean, who hasn't with these guys? Like, Philadelphia is just crushing the ball every which way they can, like just bombs left and right. So, tough lineup. People are going to struggle against them. But Hudson continues to impress since becoming a part of the rotation in August. 6 starts. He's 4-1. His ERA is at 3.93. Opponents are hitting 215 against him. They'll take that. He's not really a strikeout guy normally. He is a pitch to contact guy, but he's got to get the ball down, so they put it into the ground. And, that's what he was doing on Friday. But during the stretch, he's had 2 games where he's had 7 strikeouts. And he's limited the walks, which is a big deal for Dakota Hudson. Outside of the ugly Philly game where he had 5, you take those away, and he's only got 9 over 31 innings, which is very, very good for Dakota Hudson. Unfortunately, on Friday, the offense came up short again, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Pirates go on to win this one in extra innings. Saturday, you got Drew Rom on the mound. So there's Drew. He's got that Dallas Keuchel look, doesn't he? Just with the beard and everything. But rocky first start for Drew Rom when he got called up to the pros. Much better in start number 2, but struggled this time out again on Saturday, where he lasted just 4 2/3 innings. He allows 3 runs on 5 hits. He walks 3, only gets 1 strikeout. The strikeout to walk rate, something that he struggled with when he was in the Orioles minor league system this season before he got traded. Then he goes to Memphis, and he's phenomenal. But it's been an issue for him again since being called up to the big leagues. 11 Ks and 8 walks. That's not good. After 3 starts now, he's 0-2. His ERA is almost 8, 7.94, whip at 1.902. So it has not been an easy transition for him coming up from AAA Memphis, where, again, he was pitching very, very well. In a perfect world, these starts would probably have belonged to Matthew Liberatore anyway, who, by the way, did get activated on Monday. That did happen. The team designated Taylor Motter for assignment for the 3rd time this season, but I'm sure he'll go unclaimed and go back down to Memphis. You know, Motter seems to like it in the Cardinals organization. So, but yeah, Liberatore had that back issue, so Rom got called up, got a taste of the big leagues, and so far doesn't really like what it tastes like. But it's okay. You know, this is the time of the year where with the Cardinals not playing for anything, you know, you can afford to have these guys go out there and struggle, but hopefully learning something from these struggles. But Liberatore had that back issue. Last outing was on Sunday. Oof. Matthew Liberatore, 90 pitches in 3 innings. 90 pitches to get through 3 innings. 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. Doesn't sound so bad, right? 5 walks. 5 walks for Matthew Liberatore. Not exactly efficient, but he's back with the Cardinals. I'm assuming they're going to keep Rom up for now with the rosters expanded, but just, you know, you were hoping for a better start for him against Pittsburgh. Didn't work out. The odd part is the offense came to play on Saturday, and the guys actually held the lead. They were up 6-5 going into the 9th inning, and, of course, then that's when the bullpen comes in and goes, no. We're not going to let this happen. Drew Verhagen comes in, gets the first guy to fly out, I believe, and then he hits McCutchen. And as soon as he hit McCutchen, it was an 0-1 count. As soon as he did it, I knew he was screwed. I knew it. I was like, this is just how it goes. and very predictable 2-run bomb to the next hitter, Joshua Palacios. Cardinals lose 7-6. Back earlier in the season, I would have been crushed by this. At this point, I laugh and I just go, whatever, dude. You guys got a lot of work to do. The blown save, 26th of the season, which has them tied for 4th in the league now. For a long time, they were up in first place. The Rangers now lead. They've got 29 blown saves. And yet they're just like a game out of first place in their division. That's bizarre, right? Cardinals fall to 12-24 in 1-run games. So I'll say it again. We keep harping on starting pitching. Like, we got to get starting pitching. But this bullpen needs a lot of work as well for next year. And maybe Drew Rom or some of these guys that are coming up now, because you can't start all of them, can help out in the bullpen. You know, I know you want to make them starters. That's kind of the idea. But I don't know, put your best arms on the team. So we'll see what happens for next year. But we're going to jump into Sunday's win and Zack Thompson's progression. We'll do that next year on Locked On Cardinals. Men, if you're tired of weakening or thinning hair, do you want to reach your full hair potential? Of course you do. Of course you do. Leading hair growth supplement, Nutrafol, helps improve your hair growth. It's going to do that. It's going to give you visible thickness, and it's going to give you visible scalp coverage. It's going to make you look good again. It's going to make you feel good again. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. So what you're going to need to do here is go to Nutrafol.com/men to take their hair health wellness quiz. It's very quick. Identify the causes of your thinning hair, and Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole body wellness. They support healthy hair growth from within by targeting root causes of thinning, such as stress and hormones, environment, nutrition, lifestyle, metabolism, through whole body health. And it works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months of taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplement. So take your next step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, they're offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men. Enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com/men. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB. The Cardinals are in Atlanta on Tuesday, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter anytime you want. Your feedback, whether positive or negative, always welcome and encouraged. This is a safe place for Cardinals fans to get a little something off their chest if they need to, praise the good things that happen. It's all available to you. So let's talk about Zack Thompson now, because Zack Thompson has been somebody that has, frankly, pretty darn good since becoming a full-time starter with the team. If you had a complaint about any of it, it would be that he hasn't been going long in games. And on Sunday, he finally did that. 7 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks. And since coming back up in August, he's had 7 appearances. 5 of those were starts. He's 2-2, but the ERA 3.30, 32 Ks in 30 innings pitched, and only 7 walks. Opponents are hitting 267 off of them during this time. So obviously a little bit of room there for improvement for sure. But I think we can all agree that we've been pleased with what Zack has brought to the table. Like, I know that for all the longest time there, I was like, just leave him in the bullpen, because he isn't doing very well as a starter. But here he is. He's turned things around, and I've been very pleased with him. I mean, there's not a lot to whine about when it comes to Zack Thompson. Offensively on Sunday, the Cardinals finally got some hits with the bases loaded for once. Oh my gosh, how horrible are they with the bases loaded? I mean, that first inning, they fail in that situation, bases loaded, nobody out, and they don't get a freaking guy in. They don't even get it out of the infield. Granted, Nolan Arenado's hit down the third baseline. Great play by Hayes, who was getting missiles hit at him throughout the entire weekend and just was like, he was like a hockey goalie. He looked like Bennington out there over at third base, just knocking things down, catching. He was amazing. But he knocks that one down, throws out the guy at home plate. Next two guys pop out, like just sad, just sad. But they ended up coming through later on. You had Gorman, you had Burleson. They both come through with RBI hits with the bases loaded, ducks on the pond, as we like to call it. But this team's still just terrible, terrible when it comes to hitting with the bases loaded. Your numbers right now, league low 184, because they were down to like 176 before this weekend. So 184, it went up a few points with the bases loaded. They're 21 for 114. Just dismal, just awful. Jordan Walker, let's talk about some good stuff. Jordan Walker had a nice homestand, 571 batting average against the Padres and the Pirates. He belts 3 home runs. He knocks in 7. And maybe more importantly than all of that is the progression that he's making as an outfielder. Had a couple of really nice plays out there. Obviously, the arm is there as a cannon, and people are realizing that, and they're not trying to stretch those singles down the line into doubles on him anymore. You heard Jimmy Edmonds during the telecast over the weekend talking about all the improvements that he's seen from Jordan Walker, how hard he's been working, and you're starting to see the benefits of all that hard work and the tutoring that he's getting from Willie McGee. Now, I did hear Andy Van Slyke a couple of weeks ago just shredding Jordan Walker and how bad of an outfielder he is and how bad the routes are that he takes to go get fly balls. And he's right. I mean, there are moments where you're just like, where is he going to come back to get that? He makes the catch, but it's not the prettiest thing in the world. But he's getting better. Again, he's only been doing this for a little over a year now. So it's going to take time. It's not easy. And I feel like he's coming along. I feel like we saw some pretty good stuff out of him defensively this weekend to go along with the offense, which you knew eventually he'd get going again. Mason Wynn, somebody who has not gotten going at the plate yet since getting called up. He's 3 for 18 during the homestand, hitting just 170 since coming up to the big leagues. No home runs, 1 RBI. He's got 11 strikeouts. Defensively, he looks like he belongs. Offensively, he looks like he's nowhere close. I'm sure he'll get used to it. It's part of the adjustments, but has not looked great so far. Speed is there. Glove is there. Smart plays defensively. Nothing to complain about on that side, but with the bat, it's been a rough go. Since coming off the IL, Nolan Gorman having a rough go. Just 2 for 25 with 14 strikeouts. He don't look right. He just, like, his swing looks terrible right now. He did drive in 2 runs on Sunday, so credit to him there, which gave him 70 on the year, but he just looks like he's trying to find it. And, when you have back issues and you get out of whack, probably takes a little while to get back into the swing of things. 24 home runs right now in the season for Gorman, 70 RBIs. So if he gets hot, got an outside chance at 30 bombs this year and 85 RBIs, somewhere like that, which at the end of the season, if you see him hitting 240 with 30 home runs and 85 RBIs, I think you'd be pleased with that in his second year. So that was pretty much the weekend. Positive starts for Dakota and Thompson with the offense and defense of Jordan Walker coming along nicely. So those are some reasons to be happy. And then you've got Rom and the struggles of Mason Wynn and Nolan Gorman, areas that they need work on. You hope to see improvement on that this week, although it will not be easy because they're taking on the best team in all of baseball, the Atlanta Braves, who are just an incredible squad this year. Those games against the Dodgers this past week, that was like fall classic type of stuff. Like, that we hope that we get to see in the playoffs when these other teams get there. Unfortunately, it won't be the Cardinals, but the Cardinals will be taking on the Braves first. That starts Tuesday, and then they head to Cincinnati for the weekend. I want to talk about Julio Urias, a pitcher that the Cardinals, I thought, might have some interest in for next season. Probably not so much anymore. Got arrested on Sunday. We'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. The MLB playoffs are around the corner, which means the clock is ticking on your chance to 100 times your cash. You want to multiply it by 100? You can do that on Daily Fantasy Baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is right now because, like I mentioned just a few moments ago, Ronald Acuna and Mookie Betts going back and forth with the Dodgers and the Braves this past weekend. Although he's not pitching, Shohei Ohtani, obviously must-see TV when he's hitting, although I think he got hurt a little bit again on Monday. But the idea is you pick more or less on stats for these stars, like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more for up to a 100 times payout on Sleeper. That's where you go to do this. One of the guys I work with over at the ballpark is big fan of Sleeper. And we were talking about it, going back and forth. And, our teams are out of it right now. As a Cardinals fan, it's not so much fun. But you still watch baseball, and you could still make money off of watching this and your fantasy knowledge. So get your picks right. You could win big. The Cardinals and Braves, like I said, will play over the next few days. And let's be honest, Miles Michaelis, he's getting started on Tuesday, gives up a lot of hits, gives up a lot of home runs too. If I was you, I'd be stacking as many Braves as I possibly can. Marcell Ozuna has hit Michaelis very, very well. Matt Olson has hit him well. They're going to get a lot of hits off him probably. So might want to use them. Use promo code Locked On. You'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. Again, the Cardinals will be in Atlanta to battle the Braves this week, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals Hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. All right. So in the last episode, talked about elite pitchers. All right, elite pitchers that I brought up a lot of different names that would be aces. Like if the Cardinals were able to sign any of them, they'd immediately be their ace of the staff, all of them. And one of the guys that I mentioned was Julio Urias, who's currently with the Dodgers. 27 years old, left-handed, set to hit free agency this offseason. One of the younger impact free agent starters that will be available. This year hasn't gone quite as well on the mound, but his two previous years, fantastic. Cy Young votes. But got arrested. Got arrested on Sunday, so who knows what the future holds for him. He was arrested and charged with felony domestic violence charges and was booked late Sunday and released early Monday on $50,000 bond. And the Dodgers said that he is not going to travel with the team. He's just not going to be with them. This is the second domestic violence arrest for Urias in the past 4 years. In 2019, got arrested on suspicion of domestic battery. While he was eventually not charged, he did receive a 20-game suspension under Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy. No MLB player has been suspended twice for violating the policy since its institution in 2015, but that probably will change. This is the same franchise who dealt with the Trevor Bauer situation. And if you remember how the Dodgers treated that, as soon as they found out what was going on, they parked him. Like he was nowhere to be found. Then he got suspended. And finally, when things got settled, they were able to release him. He's now over in Japan pitching very, very well. So if they handle it the same way that they did Trevor Bauer, I mean, you may not see him in a Dodgers uniform ever again. That might be it. And depending on what happens here, you may not see him pitch in the major leagues again. I mean, this could be one of those situations where the way the league kind of treated Trevor Bauer, they were like, we're not signing you. Nobody is. Now, will Bauer come back at some point? Probably. But for now, he couldn't find any work here in the States, so he had to go over to Japan. So we'll see what happens. Innocent until proven guilty, but there's a past here where he's done this stuff before. So not great news. Not great news. So like I mentioned in my tweet about him, cross him off the list because you don't want anything like that in St. Louis. That's not going to fly. So someone who will be pitching again for the Cardinals and in a Cardinals uniform will be Miles Michaelis. That's going to happen coming up here on Tuesday night. It takes the hill against the Braves. Be sure to catch every pitch of the Cardinals Hometown broadcast for this series against the Braves with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Again, I want to thank my everydayers for being here each and every day. I know the schedule's been a little wild lately. I've had a lot of work stuff going on. And then, of course, we had the holiday, but we're going to get back into the swing of things this week, and we'll get back to normal. I can promise you that. But if you haven't already, Please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. And I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.